Today we're going to talk about the 10 things you need to know when you buy a Prius. And it's good if you know it before you buy the Prius, because you can maybe make a decision based on some of this stuff. I don't think any of these things should dissuade you because of all the reasons that I shared with you in the last video. But, you know, maybe it will. Maybe this will be too much for you to take. Some of these are good, some of these are bad, but we'll talk about those in 1 second.
Your back. Never know what to expect down here. That's the only solid fact. Guess I'd rather be on vacation. Guess I haven't got the education. I don't really have an explanation. So I found a new game to play. Thought I told you to stay away, but I see you here anyway. So yeah, guess you're welcome to overstay. Just don't build up your expectations. It's not a good time to test my patience. And don't get in this situation.
All right, folks, so let's talk about the first thing that was a new experience for me and would probably shock a lot of you if you're coming from the same place that I've been coming from. I've been a car guy like all my life, as long as I can remember. I love cool cars. I love expensive cars. I mean, I've never met a car I didn't like. So really, the more expensive it is, though, obviously, you know, that was a thing with me for a long time until I met the Dodge Challenger. So in buying a BMW or buying a Mercedes, I've owned a couple S-Classes and a few BMWs and some Range Rovers, and the experience in buying those cars are very, very, I don't know, I don't want to say pleasurable, because buying a car is never fun, but they're just, how do you put it, civilized. So the first thing you need to know about buying a Prius is the experience of shopping for a Toyota is very different than the experience of shopping for $70,000, $80,000 cars. Toyotas, the way I look at these things now after having gone through this, people are lined up to buy them for a reason. There is no shortage of buyers for Toyotas. When you go into the dealership, it's going to be busy. There's people in every conference room and every negotiating table and every closing room. So you better block out a day. Block out a whole day and plan that you're going to be there. The negotiating process isn't much different than any other car dealership, but when you get there, plan to roll around in the dirt for maybe an hour or maybe two, because they've got to put you through that pain. I swear it's rehearsed. I don't know. It just feels very rehearsed because it happens everywhere. They go away, and then it takes forever. Then they come back, and then they say, if you would sign here, you sign here if you'll accept this. And, you know, and you go, no, I want this. And they say, okay, sign here if you'll do the deal for that. And you know, like, they're never going to do that deal, but they still want you to sign and make some weird commitment in their head. Or, you know, it's the same process. So that's not much different than the high-end car dealerships. But what happens is you end up dealing with more than one person through the process, and that was frustrating. So in my initial search going to a couple of these dealerships, I was blown away that I started working with one guy, and I actually started liking the guy, and as a fellow salesperson, I started feeling tied to wanting to help him get the sale, even though I'm the one that's going to be buying the car. And suddenly I get handed off to another guy. Then I have to waste another 10-15 minutes with him, retelling him all the things that I want, all the things that I need. And then this guy, somewhere along the line, says, okay, you know what, let's get you in the drive, let's, you know, go for a drive, and you know, get to drive the car, see if you like it. And then some other guy came out. And the crazy thing is, so I made the decision to think about it and go away, because frankly I wasn't tied to any one person. I didn't feel like I was killing any one guy's sale. At this point, I know I'm buying a Prius, so you know, what is these guys going to split the $100 commission all amongst the three of them? I mean, I don't know how this is playing out, but I have no compunction about walking out of that dealership at this point and just thinking about it. So I leave, and then over the next few days, no joke, I get at least 3 different people, not even related to these guys, that were calling me from the dealership trying to get me back into the dealership. Probably telemarketers, appointment setters, whatever they were. So they're calling me like crazy. That felt a little bit strange, because no single person is, you know, establishing a relationship with me. Then I end up text messaging with the finance manager, I was told. And the finance manager is giving me information via text, but not I mean, he's asking me when I'm going to come in, but he's not giving me any real reason to rush in there. He's still playing hardball with his negotiations rather than saying things like, look, let's get you in here, let's get this deal, I'll make you agree. He's not selling to me. He's just going, no, it's going to be this much, and, you know, let me know when you want to come down. So I like to think people, you know, want the deal. I mean, at least act like you want the deal. But they don't have to, because they've got people lined up around the building to buy these cheap cars. So that kind of went away, went by the wayside. I didn't buy from that dealership. Then my parents went and bought a car from Gosh Toyota in Hemet. And they met a gentleman named Victor, and Victor was with them through the entire process. And I don't know, maybe it was because it's really a senior community where they live, senior city heavily dominated by seniors and retired people. Maybe they realized that's how those people like to work. Well, you know, I'm not one of them, but I like to work with one dude or dudette and just cruise through the deal and know that, you know, that person's going to be my person. And you establish trust, which is kind of what human beings like and need. And we would make this deal. And that ended up happening after a little bit of wrestling at the beginning. So I drove all the way out there, which is about an hour and a half away from where I live. And I spent a solid, you know, hour and a half with the guy. We got a deal done. They didn't have the car at the dealership. They had to have the car delivered to the dealership. And bottom line, we had to wait for this finance person, and they were meeting with other people. So we ended up spending probably over 2 hours sitting at the dealership, just wandering aimlessly, waiting for the finance person to pick our number for us to come in there and, you know, and do the paperwork. And when we finally did, I went into that room, and of course, you know, they only had me sign like 2 pieces of paper, not the whole thing. And then she said, well, the car's going to be here, shouldn't take more than an hour, and then, you know, you'll come back in and we'll do all the paperwork. And I'm like, why did I wait around all this time? So I decided to leave, go grab lunch. Took as long as we could, took an hour and a half, 2 hours, as long as we could, and then came back, and the car got there. Another hour and a half, almost 2 hours later, waiting and waiting and waiting. Finally, I saw a meme on Instagram while I'm waiting around, and I'll try to post this here, put this in the video, of this kid hitting another kid in the head who had an apple on his head. He's hitting him with a baseball bat, and they're saying that the dude with the apple on his head is a Prius owner, and the other one's a guy in a cool car. So I just said, you know, I'm not a Prius guy. I'm out. I'm not doing this. 6 hours of just waiting around to get this thing done. It's like going to the dentist. Just get the drill in the mouth. Let's get this thing over with. I'm not excited about it. Finally, you know, these guys are like, all of a sudden, oh, no, we're going to get you in right now, as soon as I start to want to bail out of the deal. And I just left. And then I felt bad, because Victor had put a lot of hard work into this, and I know it wasn't his fault. But to his credit, a couple days later, he took the chance to reach out to me. I went back and I bought the car, and he did me totally right. I'm glad I went out there. But buying a Toyota, it's going to be a different experience. Very different experience. You are just in line like cattle, and that just is how it is. It's not going to be, no one's bringing you a mocha chocolate latte and, you know, leaving a rose on your dash. I mean, it's just like your car's done, and, you know, hit the bricks. Now, these guys at Gosh Toyota were a little bit gentler, nicer, and definitely more civilized than some of the other dealerships, but wow, what a experience in comparison to buying a $100,000 BMW. But what do you expect? That just, you know, that goes without saying, right? Even my Dodge was kind of uncivilized, and that was $50,000, and that was like going to the DMV with all the chaos that was going on in the dealership. So that's number one. Sorry to make that one so long. Two, things are cheaper. So I bought the car, did the paperwork, jumped in it, drove down to a tint shop, asked the guy how much, and he says, look, you've got like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 windows in that car. It's going to be really expensive, and it's going to take a long time to get it done. And I said, well, you know, what's expensive? And I'm thinking he's going to say $500, because on my BMWs with less windows, I'm always paying $350, $400, sometimes more to get those done with the ceramic tint and everything else. So he says, I can do it for $240. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, this is 10 windows, little windows, big windows, bent windows, curved windows, a back little teeny thing in the back that doesn't make any sense, that they have to tint that too. And he's like, $240. And I'm thinking, wow, this is crazy. So yes, and I even said, hey, if you can get it done in 4 hours, I'll pay you $300. And he says, we'll do our best. So I left. I come back, and I see a guy pulling in and out in a really nice Audi R8. Now, an Audi R8 has way less windows than a Toyota Prius, and frankly, it's pretty easy windows to tint. And they're not going to tint the back, of course, where the motor is, so it's just like the 2 side windows. I don't even know, maybe it's got a couple little extra windows, but not 10 windows. And the guy quotes the guy like $375. And I went back and I was like, dude, why is that cost more than the Prius? And I got the ceramic tint and limo tint, and I mean, that's a big, that's a huge difference. You know what he says to me? And you can call him shady all you want, he's honest. He goes, look, Prius owners won't pay that kind of money. So I'm like, wait a minute. So I pull up in a Prius, you assume that I'm poor, or at least cheap, which apparently that's true. Well, that's probably why I bought a Prius. So it's going to be way less money. That's awesome. He just admitted it to me, straight-faced, poor Audi guy. But you know what? I've been that guy before in my BMWs, and I don't know. I don't mind paying it. I just, I was just shocked that it was so cheap for all the work that they're going to have to do. So you're going to pay less everywhere. Everywhere you go, people are going to treat you differently. Maybe either like you're a cheap person or like you just don't have any money. Either way, you're probably going to save money anytime you roll up in your Prius. Just is how it is. Number 3, people will pass you on the highway just for the sake of passing you. Just because you're in a Prius. You could be doing, which I have done, wait a minute, I shouldn't admit this, but I have done maybe a speed significantly higher than the speed limit, and I mean, I'm boogieing down the highway, and this car comes rolling up behind me that is, I don't know, a Maxima or something. I don't even know what the heck it was. Pulls up behind me, probably has the same MSRP as this thing, but because this is a Prius, this guy has to go right up my rear end and then change lanes and go around me. And I'm cruising at 87 miles an hour. Now, that doesn't happen in my Dodge. It really doesn't happen much in my BMW. But in this thing, it doesn't matter how fast you're going. They just want to run up on you because you're in a Prius. They can't even process that this car could go as fast as their car. They can't. So they'll pass you. I mean, I'm in the carpool lane. People get right up. I mean, when a Gardner truck passes by me with rakes, clanking around on the side, I'm like, guys, seriously, I'm doing like, I mean, I could outrun you if I had to. But it's just this thing in people's head. And you know how I know this is true? Because I did it too. When I'm driving my Dodge, I see a Prius. I don't know what it is. I just think that dude's going too slow. And I just cruise right around them. And then next thing you know, I find out that I'm going way faster than I should be going. And that dude wasn't going that fast in the first place. So there's just this belief that because you're in a Prius, you are not going fast. And you can't go fast. That's going to happen to you. Number 4 is when you pull up to a valet. Now this one I did not expect. But when you pull up to a valet in a fancy hotel or restaurant, no joke, no one comes out to help you. No one comes out to help you. I pulled up to the Hyatt out in the desert, and for a company event, I pulled up, and the same guys that know me when I go there come out, take my Dodge or my BMW and park it up front. They're great. They didn't even come out. It was like I didn't even exist. I just was nobody suddenly. Nobody came out. I got out of the car, and I go, guys, and they go, oh my God, it's you. How's it going? Where's the Dodge? I'm like, what the heck? You guys don't come out and help me out because I'm in the Prius? They said, we thought it was Uber. And we all started laughing for a minute there. And I learned right then and there, this is something that I didn't expect. But maybe it was just that hotel. The same day I was staying at the Ritz-Carlton in the desert. So I left that hotel from the event, drove to that Ritz-Carlton hotel, and I figured, no, this is the top notch of customer service. They are going to definitely take care of me. I pulled up there. Other cars are pulling up. Not a single valet guy comes running up to the car to get my door or park my car. I had to get out and say, seriously, guys? And they're like, oh, we're sorry. I said, you thought I was an Uber, didn't you? Yes, we did. Thought you were an Uber. I'm like, unbelievable. Everywhere I go, people think I'm an Uber. Drove up to a fancy restaurant. Nobody comes out to take my car. So if you're driving a Prius, just know You ain't getting any help in valet. You're going to have to get out and actually wave them over. Otherwise, there's no Uber sticker on my car. But the assumption is, let me put this down, the assumption is you are an Uber. That just is how it is. So the fifth thing you need to know about the car is when in electric mode, you won't know the thing's on. So you can you can accidentally stick it in drive and just, you know, think you're not started and take your foot off, and usually you're going to start rolling. What I did, which was pretty scary, and I figure I'm probably the only person in the world that'll ever do this, but I figure it's worth sharing, is I put the car in the garage, and I got out of the car, and I went in the house, and I started working on my computer, and I heard whoa, 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 this humming sound. I'm like, well, what is that? That's weird. And I just kind of dismissed it. And then it was just persistent, and it was right on the other side of the garage door to the house. So I thought, I got to go look. I mean, it's not a washing machine. It's not a furnace or, you know, refrigerator turning on. It sounds like a car. Opened the garage, and of course, almost killed myself, because the thing, when the battery dies, the engine turns on. So you've got to make sure you turn this car off, and you just don't think you did. I mean, I put it in park, and I got out, and you got to turn the thing off, or you will. But here's the good news. Good news is, if there was anything alive in my garage, it's dead now. I mean, if there was any rats or mice or any kind of animals or insects, everything's dead in there. I held my breath, opened the garage door, and let all the stuff out. But anyways, it's just something you should know. Then number 6, people stereotype Prius owners and Prius drivers. They believe that we're bad. These two girls walking by me in Beverly Hills one day, the day after I bought the Prius, and, you know, was feeling kind of good about myself. They're walking by and just talking, not to me. They didn't know I had a Prius. And this one girl says, "Oh my God, Prius drivers are horrible. They can't drive. They can't drive for crap. They're just horrible." I mean, she's just going on about it. And I'm thinking, I want to jump in and say, hey, you know, that dress really doesn't look good on you. And anybody who wears those shoes is an idiot. I mean, these kind of stereotypes aren't very fair, but that's going to happen. And you're going to be sitting at a table one day, and nobody's going to know that you have a Prius, and then they're going to start making fun of Prius people, and then you're going to have to tell them, I'm driving a Prius. Or they're going to see your Prius get pulled up a valet, if the valet guys even park your car for you. And you got to deal with that. So you're going to be holding back, letting them leave so you don't know you have it. It just is what people say. So you feel almost like you need to just, you know, help people understand that we're all not bad drivers. But then I realize I kind of am a bad driver, but it's not because of the Prius, it's just because I am. It just is what it is. Plus, in driving a Prius, you know, there's kind of behaviors you're going to have that are going to make you seem like a bad driver. So that takes me to number 7. Number 7. Here's number 7. Is you're going to be trying to stretch out the gas mileage in the car. And, you know, I didn't think I'd be doing this, but it's kind of like, you know, the Tesla people try to stretch out the range on their battery. And, well, in this thing, you're going to do the same thing. When you're in battery mode, you're going to try to drive it a little lighter, you know, and not as hard, because you want to stretch out that battery life in your drive, and you want to stretch out the gas mileage. And when you start breaking that 62, 63, 64 miles the gallon, and you're going, man, this is great. And I think right now I'm averaging like 85 miles per gallon on this car. You start to drive a little bit slower. You start to be a little closer to the speed limit. You drive it in eco mode, and you like to tap the brakes more because it regenerates the battery. It throws juice into the battery, which means you're going to tick off the people behind you, especially going downhill. I remember one day driving from Victorville here in California. I'm driving downhill, and this Prius person's in front of me and braking like crazy, and I'm like losing my mind. Like, why are you braking so much? It's insane. This is nuts. I mean, you know, I'm in my Dodge honking my horn. I go around him, and I'm like, you know, I told him he's number 1, and I thought, another Prius driver, unbelievable. But now that I'm driving one, I understand. The guy's charging his battery, man. He's getting as much mileage as he can out of his car, and who cares me being behind him. But I don't want to be that person, so I really try hard not to be. But, you know, you're going to find yourself doing that anyways. All right, the next one, which is number 8. Number 8, thing you need to know is people driving horrible cars, people who have beat up, tore up pickup trucks, Dodge Neon. I mean, they will say things like, you know, if you cut them off accidentally or they don't like, they're gonna pull up alongside of you and they'll make a comment to you. I've already had it happen. Nice Prius, dude. Saving the world, saving the trees. They call you Democrat. I mean, all this comes out. I don't care about the political issue, but they're gonna call you things. People in cars that cost, you know, a third of what this car costs, these people are going to demean you. And it's almost funny. So you just got to kind of laugh it off. It's just this Prius thing. I think the car's been around 20 years now, and it's got such a stigmatism around it that people just feel like it's such a wide opening to go ahead and just criticize you or make fun of you for driving a Prius. So, you know, that's number 8. Number nine thing you need to know, you will open your hatchback onto your garage door opener or onto your garage door, you know, area. You will open this thing in a parking garage that's a little low, and you will whack it and you will scratch your trunk. Even though I'm telling you this, you will do that. This thing opens up so incredibly high, and you know what, it's funny, I've looked at Priuses in parking lots to see if I'm the only idiot that did this, and like every single one I've seen has a gash, a mark, a nick in the hatchback, in the back where the little taillight thing is. It's just no way around it. You're going to open it up. That's part of the deal. I'll tell you it. You'll go buy the car, and a week from now, you're going to open up the hatchback and then whack it on the ceiling of something. It just is what it is. Not a big deal, but it is what it is. And next, number 10, lastly, number 10, you'll never get pulled over by the cops. You could rob a bank, jump in the car, drive away at 100 miles an hour, and they aren't even going to notice you. I do not advise you do that, because I could be wrong. But I will tell you, I have been driving this thing now for about 3 weeks. I've got limo tinted windows, and look, maybe I fracture the speed limit once in a while, and cops don't pull me over. The other day, I had to actually ask the police officer that happened to park behind me when I was parked illegally in commercial parking on the side of a road in downtown San Diego, and this guy pulls up behind me, and I thought, oh, I'm going to get jacked up. Blacked out windows, I'm parked illegally, he's going to jack me up. He gets out of his car, goes into the building, comes back out, and I'm like, this guy doesn't even know I'm here. I'm sitting right in front of him. You can't even see through the windows of the car. I'm parked illegally. There's meter maids everywhere. Nobody cares about the Prius. Probably thinks I'm an Uber picking somebody up. But anyways, I have to yell out the window, hey dude, because I wanted to get an awesome thumbnail for a video, or just a cool video anyways for fun, with the lights on, because nobody ever thinks I'm going to get in trouble in the Prius, which they're right, because I got pulled over a lot of times in my Dodge. Watch that video. It's like 15 times in my Dodge. So I yell out the window, hey dude, would you turn the lights on? And he does. Hey dude, could you turn your lights on real quick? What? Can you turn your lights on? I just bought this stupid Prius, and it's the best look in the world. I never get pulled over in it. Turn the lights on so I can have a cool picture for my wife. Come on. Sure. I love you, man. So I got a cool little video. I'll put it right here so you'll see it. And but you can't get pulled over. Yeah, it's like the cops start looking at you. They're looking at every other car. It's like if there's like an opposite of a red Corvette or red Ferrari that's like the most pulled over car in the world, this is the least pulled over car in the world. Don't ask me why, but I figure they probably think there's no criminal in the world that would select the Prius to go out and do crime in. With that said, folks, I will give you 10A, okay, and then we'll end this thing. 10A is you're going to put gas in this so few times that you're going to forget where the heck the gas tank is. So I filled up 2 times. I've got 1,800 miles on this thing. I forget. I get in my other cars. It's on one side. On the other side, this thing has hatches on both sides, and you would think you would just pull in. I pull in. The first 2-3 weeks you're going to pull in, and you're going to go, oh, that's great, wrong side. So you're going to switch it around. That is a great thing, though. To me, it like reminds me how awesome this car is that I can't even remember where the heck the gas thing goes because I don't get gas very often. Thank you so much for watching my video, folks. Stay tuned for the next one. I don't know what it's going to be about, but I'm thinking about maybe throwing some wheels on this thing and airbagging it, and I'm just kidding, but maybe some wheels. But we'll do some more videos in the future about this and my Dodge, and I'm looking for that new car to replace my Dodge and my BMW. Who knows what it's going to be. But thanks again. Please like, please subscribe. I thank you so much for all of your support. Take care. Bye. So I know you're bored when you're looking at springs. I'm wandering around looking for stuff to do. Because they have to go wash the car. Now, anywhere else in the world, it would take like maybe 15 minutes to wash a car this small. But here, it takes, I don't know, an hour. And they said they have to fill it up with gas too. So I hope it's on full. That makes sense. But I'm about to drive this home.